Hi guys, it's me Lewis, and today I'm here to do a little thoughts, opinions, and somewhat of an analytic video on the behaviour of Hasan Piker, along with many others who act the same way as he does. Now, I'm sure all of you are aware of the whole scenario regarding him and Shoe on Head that's been going on for the past couple of days during the recording of this video, but to those who have been living under a rock, let me give you a brief recap as to what is going on. So, this girl right here, Shoe on Head, recently made a video talking about the whole Pragmata controversy surrounded by people who are showing absolute hatred towards the fact that there is a father and daughter relationship going on with that game. A very similar video to what I made about the game itself. However, one particular lunatic online, known as Hasan Piker, decided to go out of his way to throw insults at people who actually despised the idea of becoming an actual dad and calling them fucking losers, same old typical bullshit. And of course, Shoe on Head did a response video to that. But then, of course, the responseception came in, where you have Hasan doing a response video to that, and of course, Shoe on Head now doing a response video to his video, if you get what I mean. And of course, and of course, the recent video that Shoe on Head has made, which I'll put the link in the description down below if you guys want to go check it out. She basically made a lot of valid points to back up her arguments that actually prove her point as to why people like Hasan are filled with all of this hatred and rage and just want to lash out at others simply because things aren't going their way in life. And of course, people like me, which I've mentioned a few rant videos ago, that I've been going out of my way to actually study these people without even the need to even ask consent, because to be honest, you don't really need to ask consent for these people because they're already giving out their actual evidence for me, so there you are. However, that being said, what I've done here is that I have put Hasan into this little scenario box, right? And that scenario box actually has 3 categories that link to Hasan's behavior, which of course is none other than misery, resentment, and of course regret. So let's start off with misery. Now, judging by Hasan's behavior and of course his family tree, which are heavily known to be very wealthy and very well known within the political space. Hence why obviously Hasan chose the occupation of being a quote unquote political commentator. But let's be real, he's a fucking Twitch streamer. But still that is what it is. But anyway. When I look at the whole scenario regarding Hasan being extremely wealthy, being extremely overprivileged, looking down at the lower and middle class as peasants in his eyes, and basically overall treating everyone around him like absolute garbage, really does tell me for a fact that something has went horribly wrong in his life. And if I were to guess, it has something to do with his relation. Well, yeah, his relation regarding with his parents. So to those who don't know, Hasan's dad is a very powerful, very wealthy man within politics. And of course, if we try and make a what if scenario or a possible scenario of what happened with Hasan Piker and try and figure out why he is the way he is today, we have to look back at what happened with him and his family. So, when you see someone like him going out of their way to basically try and have some form of connection with his parents at a very young age, the only response that someone like Hasan's dad and possibly his mom would give is basically handing him a shitload of money and politely telling him to fuck off. Henceforth, you have obviously the questionable response of them thinking, why do they keep giving me money? Like I like it. Like I'm loving the privilege. I get to own everything I need. And then of course the older they get, the more they realize that they didn't earn anything, and they actually love to be absolute fucking losers in life. And they also begin to notice that something is completely off with the whole relation regarding them and their parents. And it usually ends up with the child being isolated from them and possibly society. Now, of course, some of you may argue that people like Hasan don't come from a very wealthy legacy, and you're right. And you're right. That there are people out there within the middle and lower class who are no doubt sharing that same type of scenario with the exact same results. But you've got to remember, this is Hasan we're talking about. We're talking about a man who didn't have to work a single day in his life and didn't have to even have to lift a finger to try and get what he wanted. It was just handed to him on a silver platter, and it's very clear as day. That's where his life has led to today. Now, next up on the category is, of course, the resentment. Now, the resentment, this is where things start to get very intense with Hasan, because it's very clear as day to me. He didn't want to start any arguments or calling out his parents for basically not giving him enough attention as a result. And again, this is not me trying to be mean or anything. This is just me trying to picture what went horribly wrong in his life. And when you start picturing that idea of a child like Hasan during that time, who wanted to be loved, wanted to have some sort of attachment to his own parents who brought him into this world, it always rolls back the same result when you keep cutting any source of opportunity of them trying to make sure that they have some source of attention. And of course, what that leads to is them showing that resentment, that bitterness, the rage that they had bottled up within their very system for so long, and taking it out on the wrong fucking people. And there's a very good reason why Hasan doesn't want to do that to his parents, because he knows damn well is that if he ever did that, not only would they cut off all contact with him, but they would cut off any source of income that is leading his way. And to be honest with you, that is one of his biggest fears within that scenario. And the third and final category is, of course, regret. Now, some of you are probably thinking, what does Hasan regret exactly? Well, it's very simple. He regrets pretending to be someone that he's not. And of course, at first, him pretending to be an alpha male, trying to give out these very bullshit tips on how to attract a woman to you, didn't exactly kick off his career. And of course, this of course is where he needed attention elsewhere, which is why he approached the internet. And after this was also before this was after he left the Young Turks, where his uncle owned that company, because he was doing some work there as well. So anyway, the whole point of him regretting the life choices that he's made has no doubt affected his life more and more. And when you look at this whole situation regarding that, you begin to notice, and I mean, you seriously begin to notice that this guy is showing high levels of insecurities, and that of course that insecurities began to kick off when he basically started his whole political commentary career, which I'm using those quotes very loosely, on Twitch, where he started spewing all kinds of crazy shit about him supporting terrorists and why certain people from a certain political side need to be eradicated, and him why believing that being part of a socialist system is a quote unquote good thing, even though many would disagree. And of course, when it comes to those disagreements, Hasan will literally start throwing insults without actually giving out proper points to back up his arguments. And that is where the whole regret comes in, because what that attracted within his career was some of the most deranged and unstable people online, hence aka the terminally online political psychopaths. And Hasan knows for a fact that if he even dared leave, and I mean if he even dared leave the political space, or retire from it, or call it out for what it is, whilst changing his political side, because let's be real, he doesn't actually believe the shit that comes out of his mouth. It's clear it's clear as day to everyone that his own audience will find out where he lives and and do unspeakable shit to him. There is no question about that. And that fear does strike into his very soul, because he knows his audience will do that. They're not afraid to go down with the ship and throw their lives away simply because they have one quote unquote traitor within their space. And it really does shine as well, because the amount of times that Hasan has shown his true colors to be a false champagne socialist prick is clear as day. The guy has thrown fucking temper tantrums at his own audience. He's very insecure about himself, and basically has no sense of humor regarding the miserable path that he took. Because I get what Hasan was trying to do. He was trying to fit in somewhere. He's trying to be someone that he's not, as I mentioned. But the thing is, what it led to him was a very dangerous path that's now backed him into a corner that he can't get out of. And even if he dared try to slither his way through or try to shove his way through to run away, it's not going to make a difference, because his life, both physically and mentally, will end at a snap of a finger. That's it. And what you got to understand, ladies and gentlemen, is this. This guy has definitely shown the behavioral patterns of being a man who has severe daddy issues mixed in with the insecurities, as I mentioned. Because, as I mentioned before, he is lashing out at the wrong fucking people and cannot even seem to even admit that his life is fucking miserable. Because there's no balance in there. There's no balance between positive, honesty, and negativity. All he has is just the negativity. That's it, nothing else. And the fact that he has to use people from a certain political side, including his own dog, as both an emotional and or physical punching bag to basically take his anger out on without having a need to lift a finger. And it really does show that when people like me when people ask the question, are you just pissed off over the fact that things didn't go your way in life, and you didn't exactly feel like that you accomplished anything, even though that fact is also true? Their immediate responses will either be throwing insults, calling you fucking names, or better yet, using those same old fucking buzzwords that translates to, you guessed it, fuck and you, over and over again to try and shut you up. And that's precisely what Hasan has been doing over the last couple of years, and it is getting exhausting for him. It really is. It's gotten so exhausting to the point where he doesn't even know how to make this shit stop. The bastard fucking streams 8 hours a day, right? 8 fucking hours rambling on about all sorts of political bullshit. There's got to be some point where he's saying to himself, do you know what? Fuck it. I want to actually play video games and just keep my fucking mouth shut. Because what this also points out is the fact that this all rolls back to the whole scenario regarding my rant video about people who are terminally online. And of course, Hasan's audience being the terminally online political psychopaths, he's trying to appease to them and try and get brownie points just to insult people that he may or may not fucking like if he was being honest with himself. To a bunch of fucking lunatics that he's never going to meet in his life, and it's clear as day that is the approach he took. And you know the sad part about all this is there is no redemption for this man, because he brought this on himself. He went for one career path that went absolutely nowhere, went for another career path that did go somewhere, but now regrets it because it just brings nothing but hatred and spite in his life, and he doesn't even know how to make that stop. And the worst part about all this is the only two things that Hasan is going to be known for, and get ready for this because this is going to blow this is probably going to blow your mind if not it already has. fucking years ago or months ago, is that the only two things that he's going to be remembered for, whether or not he retires from the internet, which I seriously that will happen, or if he tragically passes away, all he's going to be remembered for is him being a nihilistic prick and abusing his dog. That's all he's going to be remembered for. And again, it's really fucking sad to see, because this man could have actually did something better with his life. He could have actually started up a live stream, played some video games, shut the fuck up about politics, and just talk about shit that actually brought some form of positivity or honesty in his life. But unfortunately, that's not the case here. Okay, guys, that's all I have time for. So don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe, and tell me what are your thoughts on the whole scenario regarding Hasan Piker and his behaviour, and the whole situation regarding him basically lashing out at individuals like Shoeonhead. Do you think it revolves around what I've mentioned before? Do you think it also revolves around jealousy or anything along those lines? Do let me know in the comment section. Okay, guys, peace out.